What is up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of It's Called Football on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. It's been a week off. I think we had Thanksgiving. It was kind of busy for both of us. Jackson traveling, going back home, finishing up school. Me kind of just working a bunch and balancing all that stuff. So we're back though. Jackson, how are you doing on this Friday afternoon? We've had quite a week because we had Premier League matches last weekend, then midweeks, and now an interesting slate of games coming up this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest. A lot happened. Where we were just like a week ago compared to where we are now is completely different. So It's interesting. It was a fun week.
Oh, absolutely. Very fun. We're seeing ups and downs from a lot of different teams at the moment. No one really looks like that team anymore. Everyone's been dropping points. And we'll start with the league leaders who dropped a couple points at the midweek. Liverpool took on Newcastle up north in Newcastle and ultimately finished 3-3. In my opinion, this was one of the games of the season. Some very good goals. Salah had a brace in the second half to give Liverpool a 3-2 lead from 2-1 down. But it was a 90th minute goal from Fabian Schär, which that I will say probably should have been saved, the initial cross. Kelleher had kind of let the ball just go by instead of punching it away or catching it, tapped in at into an empty net. But what did you think of this game? Because to me, this was one of the best matches of the season.
No, it was a great game. I mean, yeah, Newcastle took the lead. Liverpool looked like they had it, and then obviously you get that late equalizer from Fabian Schär. The game really had everything. 3 goals in it. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good game. And you brought up the exact point I want to make, and that was Kelleher sold the game for Liverpool. They had it, right? You're down. You're on the road. You come back. You're up 3-2, right? All you got to do is see the game out. And that's why you see keepers always try to get a hand on stuff, even if they think it might be going wide. You do it so you avoid something like this. He tried to be cheeky. He tried to let it just go out. And they drew because of it. Like, he's been very good in Alisson's absence. Like, we've talked about it. The level really hasn't dropped. We were concerned that maybe you could see the level drop off a little bit with him in there. It hasn't. This one was bad, though. That's one you just need to punch it, get something on it, see it out. Who cares? It goes out for a corner kick. Who cares? It goes out there and they get the ball. Who cares, right? You just got to get it out. He tried to be cheeky. That's like the first time you've really seen Kelleher kind of like his absence, Alisson's, kind of be a negative because Kelleher right there made a boneheaded mistake. And that's ultimately what cost him all 3 points. But like you said, it was a very, very good game. Like, don't take anything away from Newcastle and act like they didn't deserve it. They were right in it the whole way. I think shots were basically equal. Shots on target, Newcastle actually had more. So they were creating plenty, and they scored 3 goals. So all credit to Newcastle. Both teams played very well offensively. Obviously, it's a lot to be desired on the defensive side of things, especially for a Liverpool team who's been so strong defensively. I'm sure they're pretty upset about it. But you're on the road playing a team that's doing pretty well right now. They're getting hot again, Newcastle are. Isak scoring.
Oh, my God. His goal was remarkable as well. Just want to put that out there.
So he's found his form. So, again, it sucks, especially because you had the 3-2 lead. But at the end of the day, 3-3 is not that bad. And for all of us neutrals, for all of us who are just watching, what a game. Like, we were the ones who were blessed by being able to watch that as a neutral fan. That was a spectacular match.
I mean, it really had everything. And that is the first time Liverpool's dropped any points across all competitions since October 27th when they drew with Arsenal.
Yeah.
And they had the late equalizer in that one. So it's been quite a run. And I guess that's what kind of surprised me the most was you look 3 days earlier, this past weekend, they go and take on Man City. You're thinking, okay, this is kind of where we see City start taking over. Domination. Liverpool dominated them 1-2-0. Gakpo and Salah. Then the pre-Champions League, the midweek before, they beat Real Madrid 2-0. It was a remarkable run of those 2 games, especially. And then you come into this one and say, defensively, you let up a bit. Sure, fair play to Newcastle. They did a lot really well, but I just feel like the Liverpool defense we saw in this game and the goalkeeping was not at all what we've seen the entire rest of the season. But, everyone's doing off day. They still lead the league by 7 points.
Yeah. They're still comfortably ahead right now. So
Yeah, so
if that's your off day, though, that's not a bad off day.
no, not at all.
You still get a point. You scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
It's not a bad off day.
No, not at all. Team with a bad off day, which seems like it's more and more often now, is Man United. Took on Arsenal. 2 corner kick goals were ultimately the difference. I'll let you take over on this one. What do you think of this Arsenal win and performance?
It's interesting that we've seen kind of a shift where people think of scoring off set pieces as old school. A lot of people don't focus on it, but man, when you're good at it, it opens up so many possibilities. Teams are terrified of you when you have a free kick or when you have a corner kick. That's Arsenal right now. 2 set piece goals. And what I love about it is the players go exactly where the ball is going. First goal, it was flicked on from the near post. You saw multiple Arsenal players there. Timber ultimately got the touch, but they kind of swarmed it. They all knew where it was going. The ball was placed perfectly, and he scored. The second one, there were players around there. That's how it went in. So Liba just stood there, and it hit him in the back because they put players where the ball was going to go. Partey headed it back, goes off Saliba and in. And that comes from the set piece training that Arsenal's done. Arteta's putting a premium on this, and it's working. We're unbelievable on set pieces this year. It's awesome to see, right? Because if you're in a tight game, right, it's pretty even. Team sitting in a little bit, like Man U was trying to do. If you can be a threat on set pieces, that changes everything. Because if you don't have it, they can just sit in. They can defend the whole time. You might not be able to break them down. But when you can score on set pieces, when you can be dangerous, like Arsenal has shown to be this season, and they showed in this game in particular, it's awesome. I love that about this Arsenal team this year, how good we are on set pieces, because it just makes it so difficult for teams. Because what do, right? You got to save the ball from going out for a corner kick. You can't let Arsenal get a corner kick. So you might do something stupid. Being good at set pieces just opens up a world of possibilities. And at the end of the day, like you said, that was the difference in this game. And I love watching this. I love watching Arsenal be good at set pieces because teams just don't know how to deal with it. They really don't. And that's why hiring a set piece coach is a good idea. I really think it is, because then you get those creative plays. Everyone knows where it's going, and other teams literally can't stop it because they don't spend time on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, when you even look at it, this game could have very well been 4 or 5-0 off of corner kicks alone. Ultimately, Arsenal had 13 to Man U 0, which that on its own right is remarkable, especially when it was 50-50 in possession. It wasn't like anything was really that one-sided, but it's really, you look at it, 13 corners, madness. And I guess to the point of it, obviously having the coach who focuses on it, because Arsenal's been so good at free kicks and corners all season. But also props to the guys of Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka for always putting the ball right where it needs to be, right where only their guy can get it. It's like a quarterback dropping a dime into double coverage. To an extent, you're finding a way to make sure your guy is the only guy that can get to the ball. And that's what they did in this game, is both of those were just perfectly placed. I think it was the first one, or it might have not even been one of the goals, but there was a couple where a dude was wide open for Arsenal, and it really could have been another goal or two there, where Man U's defending just collapsed. And it's an issue on their part. Their defense is still not good. You have Harry Maguire, Matthias de Ligt, and Mazzouzari in. Hasn't been the best start under Ruben Amirion yet.
No, but
it's still
that, right? You'd expect that. Like, you can't expect him to just come in with a roster that's not his and change things around. Like, it's going to take this season. It's going to take making some moves in January. Like, he's going to need a little bit of time. So, like, that's completely understandable. I do think you're seeing a better version of Man U already. I do think you're seeing a slightly improved one, and that could just be an element of, we talked about this before, having that weight of the end of the Ten Hag era lifted from your shoulders, or something you're playing with more freedom, shit like that. But yeah, they're still looking better. Just overall, I think they are looking better. Like you said, there's still a long way to go. I'm sure Amorim's going to get them to where they need to be.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they already won 4-0 with him against Everton.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing improved performances. This wasn't that bad of a performance. Sure, you're sitting in a little bit. You didn't create as much. You ended up losing 2-0, but you didn't really get played off the pitch.
No,
You had a game plan. They executed it fairly well, and it was set pieces at the end of the day. That was a difference. You didn't get beat through the run of play. You didn't really make too many bad mistakes. It just came down to set pieces.
yeah, it really did. And I mean, maybe they could have you could have made some better goal scoring opportunities, but it wasn't to be. Anthony came on late trying to change that. Didn't really do much, but overall, good 3 points for Arsenal and a good way to kind of climb back up into that title race even more so with Liverpool dropping a couple points. But the issue for them is the teams around them didn't and actually looked very, very good. Let's start with Man City and Nottingham Forest. To say this was one-sided would be an understatement, I would say. 3-0, pure domination. And this was Man City, who is currently fourth in the table against the number 7 team in the table, and Forest, who were either fifth or sixth coming into this weekend or this midweek match. But Man City looked like Man City and ended their 5-game losing streak.
And you figured it was coming.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time. And, I mean, we also talked about Forest eventually dropping off. They have started to do that a little bit and regress back to the mean in a way of where you'd expect them to be. But, yeah, you expected City to do this. And, again, it's going to be a little rough sailing the rest of the way because you don't have Rodri. But you still have the quality to beat just about everyone, if not everyone in this league still, which is why it was so shocking to see what we were watching where they were losing and they were getting outplayed. They were getting outworked. It didn't look like Manchester City at all. This was the game. Like, we've been wondering when it would be. I thought it would be the Liverpool game. This was the game where they finally get things back on track. Because not only do you win by 3 goals, you get a clean sheet. Those have been really hard to come by for Manchester City this season. You know, I think this is only number 3?
I believe so.
I think this is only number 3, which for a team like City is pretty remarkable. And you had Ortega in goal, obviously, though there's an element with that, but you still, even when Ederson was playing, you're still leaking in goals. Every defensive partnership they've tried has leaked in goals. It's just kind of been just an overall symptom of the entire back line, not just individual players. So to see them finally get it right is a very positive sign, especially against a Forest team that has been scoring goals, in their own right. Like, they've been scoring goals. They've looked pretty dangerous. Chris Wood was starting up top. He's had a remarkable season, even though he slowed down a little bit. Anthony Elanga is dangerous. Gibbs White's a very good player. They've got good players in attack, and they've showed it this season. Like, they've put up decent enough attacking numbers. What is it, 16 goals for? That's pretty decent for a Forest team. Gets 14 games in, they're scoring at least a goal a game. It's pretty good for a team that's often in the relegation scrap. So the fact that City got a clean sheet in this one is huge. They looked immensely better. And like you said, they dominated from start to finish. That's the Manchester City that we've all grown to know, and I'm not going to say love because we're not City fans, so I had to pause there, but that we've all come to know and expect. Yeah. This is more like that, and I expect it to continue in the future. Again, it's going to be tough with Rodri out. That's obviously had an impact already, but this was a huge, huge step in the right direction for City, and they're not out of it yet. We still have plenty of season to go. So still plenty of time to get back up. I'm assuming Chelsea and Arsenal and Liverpool are all going to drop points. That's been the season so far. So they're by no means out of it.
No. I mean, you brought up Rodri, and that's one of the big things that I'll take in this match is you've been so reliant on Erling Haaland scoring the goals. He doesn't get a goal this time. Instead, it's Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, and Jeremy Doku. These guys who aren't really known for their goal-scoring prowess, but more their playmaking, stepping up and putting the ball in the back of the net. And that's what makes Man City so dangerous is, say, Haaland had an off game. I didn't think he had an off game. It was kind of more Forest targeting him more and these other guys stepping up and finding space. But they did what they had to do, and these other guys stepped up when their leading goal scorer in the entire Premier League wasn't able to find the back of the net. So well performed by them. And it looks like Man City's finally kind of getting back into their groove. curious to see what happens the next upcoming weeks because it is a very, very, it's a pretty manageable schedule. Away to Crystal Palace this weekend, away to Juventus midweek in the Champions League.
That one's tough.
Then it's the Manchester Derby, but it's home for City, at Aston Villa, home to Everton, at Leicester, and then we're into the new year. So very, very manageable. I think the hardest ones will be the Man U, Villa, Juve is Champions League. You expect those to all be tough, but very well could be 5 wins in 5 Premier League matches for the Citizens down the stretch of this 2024.
I like the point you made, though, talking about other people stepping up and scoring goals. So I got into this argument with my brother because he's a City fan. And I was telling him, one of your huge problems is that you rely too much on Erling Haaland. And he was getting all upset with this. I'm like, no. Think about it. Where do most of the goals come from? Erling Haaland. I think heading into this, City had scored 23 or 22 goals. Heading into, I forget if it was the midweek or the weekend. I think it was the weekend. They've scored 22 goals or 23. 12 of them were Erling Haaland. That's a staggering amount. So you take him out of the equation, right? You focus in on him like Forest did, like other teams have been doing. And if you just rely on this one guy and no one else knows how to score, where are the goal's going to come from? And it sounds really like a really simplistic remark, but we've actually seen this be a thing. Like against Liverpool the other week, no one could score. No one else could do anything. So like Erling Haaland, best striker in the world. But when he gets focused on and can't get the service he needs or can't get the room he needs, who else is going to be the one to step up?
And that's
until this game, you hadn't seen anyone.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it now, Erling Haaland is now, for the first time since he's joined the Premier League, he's second in goals scored in the entire league. Mo Salah's brace this week put him over in the first with 13. But looking at Man City's, outside of him, do you have a guess. I don't know if you've looked it up, but have a guess at who their next leading goal scorer is, their second highest goal scorer.
It's not Rodri.
No.
Who would this be? Bernardo Silva?
No. Gvardiol.
No way.
Gvardiol has 3.
3?
Yeah. 3. And then De Bruyne, Doku, and Stones have 2 apiece, and Bernardo has 1.
So that was his first one of the season.
Yeah. Still no goals for Phil Foden. Still no goals for Jack Grealish, Gundogan. I know Rico Lewis is out, but it's like, guys, someone's got to step up and help because this can't be just Erling Haaland.
That's been the problem, buddy. That's been the problem.
The stat you brought up earlier is like, yeah, they've now coming into this weekend or midweek, they'd scored 22 total goals. Haaland had 12 of them. Yeah. That's bad. That is really, really bad.
He had more than half of your team's goals.
Yep.
That is not sustainable. Because if it's hurt or focused on, then who's going to be the one scoring the goals?
Yep.
So that's been huge for him. Again, I think the Rodri thing is still the biggest factor.
Agreed.
But an over-reliance on Erling Haaland has harmed Manchester City. 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not exactly like Liverpool's relying on other people outside of Mo Salah, but Luis Diaz has 5, Gakpo's scored. They've like 9 different goal scorers. Man City has like 1, and then some guys who kind of find the back of the net somehow. But that's the big question I have for Man City, and the one guy who I'm still looking for. I haven't seen him play since what was it? Not even the FA Cup final last year. Probably the last Premier League game of the season last year. Where's Phil Foden?
Dude, he has vanished.
He has vanished completely.
100%.
England was disgraceful. And now for Man City this year, that doesn't seem like he's playing at all. I could be completely wrong. I actually just don't know if he is.
He's really not playing. Like, he's not starting games. He may sub him every now and then. I think he struggled with some injury. I think. But in other games, he's getting benched by Savinho, who just came into the club recently. These other guys.
When he is starting and playing all 90 minutes, he's not exactly doing anything.
Here's why he's not playing. I assume part of it, too, is he's not training well because he got benched pretty early on in the season. So for someone who went from Premier League player of the season to not even starting, I'd assume it'd have to be lack of performance in training or some form of an attitude.
Yeah, I mean, he was benched and he was injured here and there early on in the season. Recently, he's been playing more and more time, but it's still like
He's still not really contributing though.
no,
Like,
exactly. You're playing 90 minutes, but you don't have an assist or a goal or really any shots on target either.
mm-hmm,
Oh man, what are you doing?
mm-hmm. Hey, and another point, this highlights how important someone like Julian Alvarez really is. A secondary goal scorer who can step up when your primary goal scorer is having a lull, because that'll happen. No one's going to score every single game. Like, you're going to get shut down sometimes. You're not going to perform as well. You're going to miss finishes. When you have another guy who can step up and do the job, it's huge. So missing out on that kind of player, I think, is also having an impact. We had a feeling it might, but now we're really seeing what it's doing to Manchester City. They have no one else who can score their goals.
And meanwhile, you look at Julian Alvarez for Atletico Madrid, 5 goals, 2 assists in 15 La Liga matches. He has 3 goals in the Champions League as well this year. I rest my case. He's scoring against teams just as tough as the ones Man City are playing against. No one else is really scoring for Man City outside of Holland. We will see what happens next, but something needs to continuously keep changing for Man City. Hey, a win's a win. For everything we said about, they need this, and this, you won 3-0 against a team and fighting for Europe. Fair play.
We'll see if they can carry on the momentum now. They finally righted the ship. Now, can you keep it on course?
That is the million-dollar question. But moving on to another team that is now up into second place in the table is Chelsea. They had a very, very, very comfortable win as well this weekend away to Southampton. Ultimately finished 5-1. Got a goal 7 minutes in. Then it was 1-1. Thinking, maybe Southampton will have something to play. Nah. It was 3-1 by halftime. 2 goals laid on from Palmer and Jadon Sancho, who got his first goal as a Chelsea player this season. They both scored to make it 5-1. What did you think of this match? Because pretty one-sided.
For everything people have said about Chelsea, right? Including us, about this not being the year, they still need to build. They look pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They look good. Because here's the thing. They're in second place right now. But it's not just that they're getting the points. They're smashing teams. They will score. Like, they can score. And I keep hearing people say, like, pundits on TV, like, say, like, they're just not quite there yet. It's not the season. Why not? They're showing out just as well as everyone else is. They're absolutely battering teams. Well, 31 goals for.
Yeah.
Liverpool's got 29. Arsenal's got 28. I think, they've got the most goals scored in the Premier League right now with 31. They're just absolutely battering teams, and they look good doing it. They've gotten some pretty good results as well against some of the bigger boys, They're looking really good.
Yeah,
And they're getting goals from multiple different people. Last year, it was all Cole Palmer, right? Everything was Cole Palmer. This year, it's so many different people. Cole Palmer's still creating goals and scoring them, but now you see guys like Madueke playing well, and Kuku's back. And then you see Nicholas Jackson's had a renaissance this season.
Oh, yeah.
It's been remarkable to see. And, like, if they keep doing what they're doing, I don't see any reason why this team can't push at the end. I have a feeling they'll probably fall off a little bit as they play a little bit tougher teams, but they've already proven us wrong once. I would not be surprised if they did it again because they're scoring goals. They have multiple people who know how to score. That's the difference between them and Man City and why I like Chelsea right now more than City. More goals, right? I still think City's a better team, but Chelsea's been scoring. They've been smashing teams, especially the teams that they need to smash, like Southampton. It's been really impressive to watch.
I mean, you look at their last 2 Premier League games, a 3-0 win over Aston Villa at the weekend and then 5-1. They have 8 goals, 7 different goal scorers of those 8 goals. That's remarkable. The only one who scored twice was Cole Palmer, who does what he does late on. But you look at the stats, and you brought up all these other guys. Palmer leads the way with 9 goals and 6 assists, so he's doing it at both ways.
You'd expect
Jackson, 8 goals. Madueke, as you mentioned, 5 goals. Enzo Fernandez and Nkunku have a pair each. And you look at the assists, there's 3 guys who have 3 assists, 3 more who have 2 assists each. Like, they're finding goals from everywhere, and that's why they have scored, what did you say, 31 goals this season?
31 goals. It's the most in the Premier League.
Most in the Premier League. They've also allowed the 3rd least amount of goals with 15.
Defensively, that's another point. They've been really good defensively.
Like, strong defensively. And
quietly really good.
And it's been against teams who are better at times. I mean, holding Arsenal to 1, Aston Villa to a clean sheet, Man U to 1. You look at Liverpool, sure they gave up 2 there, but it's consistently been like there was a stretch where they didn't allow 1 goal for a while. And I know their goal difference in goals for were really helped by that Wolves game, 6-2 early on in the season, but like, hey, defensively they have looked stout.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to see what happens next time they play a top team.
That's going to be the kicker, right? How can you do? You've got all this positive momentum. How can you do when you've got to play City again, when you've got to play Liverpool again, when you got to play Arsenal again? How can you do in those games? Because that will determine if they can be in the top 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they that good? We're going to find out. But I tell you what, they look good. They look really good. And they're going to be good for the future. Like, they're building right now. Like, if you're a Chelsea fan, I'd be really excited right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you expect them to win the UEFA Conference League as well. At least I expect them to win the UEFA Conference League. They're looking good in the Premier League. Is it too early to say they're back?
I don't know if it's too early to say they're back, right? Because define what back means, right? Does it mean back winning titles or back being competitive? Because they're definitely competitive.
I would say, back being competitive. Because, I mean, it was forever. Our time growing up, it was Man U and Chelsea. Man U dominated. Chelsea was always right there. Now it's kind of similar as way. Man City's dominating. Liverpool and Arsenal, or especially Liverpool, are always right there.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea and Man U both fell off a cliff completely. Mm-hmm. And they've both kind of been, well, have a good season and they'll fall back down. And now Chelsea finally looks like they're actually getting better. Man U, we know, has a new manager and all this stuff. And they may be better off down the line. But as of now, Chelsea looks like they're back way more than Man U is.
100%. Like, don't want to play Chelsea. Very excited about playing Man U.
Yes.
That's a difference.
Case in point, this weekend, 2-0. Even at home against Chelsea, I would be much more nervous if I was an Arsenal fan than.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But moving on to one more game we'll touch on in a little bit of detail, mostly because it surrounds the relegation side of things. We're going to sway down to the opposite end of the table here. But Ipswich Town hosted Crystal Palace. Going into the match, both teams were tied with 9 points apiece. Crystal Palace had a little bit better of a goal difference, so they were ahead. But they ultimately got a massive 3 points in a 6-point swing. And now Palace are up to 12 points. They won 1-0, a Mateta goal. How does this push Ipswich more, or does this hurt Ipswich more? Or do you think it helps Palace moving forward? Just start early. I mean, relegation battle. Yeah. We saw Everton also win 4-0 against Wolves. So
it's still early, but it definitely helps Palace more than I'd say it hurts Ipswich. Because, again, it's still early enough that Ipswich can recover, right? So it's not the end of the world. They actually played pretty well. Like, I don't think they played bad by any stretch, but you did lose, so that's a negative, obviously. But I don't think it's catastrophic. You're looking at it like, oh, this sucks. We lost to a team in the relegation zone. Who knows what the relegation zone is going to look like 4 weeks from now, you know, with all these games coming up. But from a Crystal Palace perspective, this is huge, right? Because every point matters. So, again, it sucks for Ipswich, or it's not as bad for Ipswich because there's plenty of time to recover. But if you're in a relegation scrap, every point matters, no matter where it comes from, no matter when it comes. So the 3 points here could be huge for Palace, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
every point matters.
Oh, yeah, and Ipswich has a massive, massive match coming up in 2 weekends' time when they go to Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one that you win that, and suddenly you're feeling, okay, we're kind of beating some of these other teams. We're feeling more confident, more comfortable, and go from there. But I was a little disappointed in Ipswich's performance, especially considering like sure, they lost to Forest the week before. That was an unfortunate penalty. And, I mean, but before that, they beat Tottenham, drew with Man U. Like, I thought they were kind of finding a way up, but I just think they're the same. I think you mentioned it last episode we had. They're like very much a Luton town.
They're Luton-esque for sure
this year, where you're competing, but you're always on the wrong end of the result one way or another. So,
and Luton was an anomaly, man, because they would ball out against the big boys and then just
with everybody else,
shit the bed against everyone else. Which I guess Ipswich, I got the win against Tottenham. So maybe you can kind of find that parallel there, and then lost this one. But I do feel like Ipswich is still a stronger team than Luton was.
Yeah.
Especially more so defensively. But, yeah, I mean, there's still so much time left. You got time. Like you said, big one coming up against Wolves. Just got to start picking up the points when you can. That's how you got to start looking at it. You can't look back in the mirror and be like, oh, how did we lose this one? How did we do this? You just got to move forward, right? One game at a time. Try to get as many points as you can. Still plenty of time. But I think Ipswich has a much better shot than I thought Luton had. For sure.
Yeah, no, definitely is the same sort of thing. I think Palace did enough, and it was a battle of two pretty crap teams. So,
yeah,
put it that way. But hey, a win's a win. 3 points are 3 points. Big 3 points for Crystal Palace. Jackson, before we take a look at what's upcoming this week, are there any other matches or anything you want to point out from this past weekend?
I think we covered the base of what we wanted to. Obviously, you mentioned Everton got the 4-0 victory against Wolves. Huge result for them. Fulham beating Brighton. Pretty big result for Fulham. Brighton's been looking very good this season. Fulham now is right behind them in 6th place. So I'm loving that, by the way. I'm loving the battle for European places we're seeing, because right now in it, so you have the big four, call what you will, with Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City. Then behind that, you got Brighton, Fulham, Forest, Villa, Bournemouth, all right there. Like, it could be a very fun battle for Europe, because a lot of teams you usually see in it, like Manchester United, Newcastle recently, West Ham's been in it, Tottenham, they're all trending down right now. They're all a little bit down, so it's giving some of these other teams a chance. I think it's pretty awesome to watch. Like, it's interesting. You haven't really seen it like this. Like, you'll see a team sneak in every now and then, but to the extent that we're seeing so far, I think it's been pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been great. And I'll just throw two out there that I just want to mention. Tottenham losing to Bournemouth, very funny. And then Fulham, gotta give Alex Iwobi a shout, because his first goal was pretty bad. Brighton's goalkeeper pretty much passed him the ball and said, "Here you go, it's an open net." But his second goal, nice little turn, somehow kept the ball on his feet, curled it into the top corner. Nothing Verbruggen could do about it. So fair play to Fulham, up to 5th in the league, or 6th in the league.
6th, and they're having a quietly very good season. Not enough people are talking about them.
No, and the team they beat, Brighton, is 1 point ahead of them in 5th at the moment. Fulham's only 4 points off of Man City.
Yeah,
just put it out. But now time to.
But do you feel like anyone's talking about him?
No,
right?
I feel like we don't even give him enough.
No, we haven't until this week.
Yeah, it's been very, very weird. So we'll see. Like, I mean, fair play to them. They keep doing really, really well.
They keep getting results.
Yeah, they really do. Moving on to this week's action, we had a couple ones that we were up for match of the week, but ultimately we decided the historic aspect to this one outweighs everything else. We have the Merseyside derby. Everton, Liverpool, their stadiums are half a mile from each other across a park. This one is at Goodison Park. This will be the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, which is crazy to think. A stadium that opened, what was it, 132 years ago. I think it was 18. I had the stat up. 1892 was when Goodison Park opened. Officially, they're changing it at the end of this season. Very, very sad. This is the final one here, but hey, Liverpool is looking for their 100th win in the Merseyside derby to Everton's 68. We'll say at Goodison Park recently, it's been more Everton in the last few years than Liverpool. Everton won 2-0 at home last year, drew 0-0 the year before. Sure, they lost the year before that, but there's only one loss in the last 6, 7, 8 years in the Merseyside derby at home. So,
yeah.
what are you expecting from this one? Do you think with all the extra stuff going on and off the field, all that sort of stuff, Everton has any hope in this one?
I think they do. Purely because it's going to be the last Merseyside derby at Goodison, right?
Yep.
So I think that's just going to have a different kind of energy in it than any time these teams have played basically ever. It's going to be the last time there. You got to defend your fortress, right? I feel like that might have part of it in. I do think Liverpool is going to come out on top at the end of the day. But I think Everton's going to give them a fight. I think they'll be in it. I think they'll ultimately lose 2-1. I think Liverpool will get a late game-winning goal. But I do think Everton's going to show out and perform pretty well. Now, I'd love to see them win because I don't think they've had consecutive Merseyside derby wins since, what was it? I got it up here. Yeah, 1984, 1985 was the last time they've gone back-to-back in 2 seasons, winning at home in the Merseyside derby. So I'd love to see it, and it'd be a great way to finish. I don't think they're going to have enough at the end of the day. I think Liverpool's still too strong. But I think they'll be in the game. I think it'll be a very good game. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to have a different kind of energy in it than, well, basically any Everton game you've watched in a long time because it will be the last one.
I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. And I just want to check. The stat you said was 1984 was the last time they did?
Yeah, 1984 into 1985 was the last time they'd won back-to-back home games.
Jeez, because, the 1984-85 season was also the last time they did the double over Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for Everton to do what they could potentially do this season. But we've talked about it time and time again. During last season, during the relegation battle, we were like, okay, Everton might not be the best team by any means. They probably should go down, but somehow playing at Goodison Park, their crowd will be up for it. The atmosphere will carry them to the finish line, and it has. I want to be ballsy, and I think I'm going to take a draw in this one. I don't know if Everton necessarily win it, but I think there's going to be that one final bit of magic for the Goodison Park fans before they move to what's being called the Everton Stadium.
Yeah, real creative with that.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. Yeah, the Everton Stadium.
The Everton. Yeah, you added the "the" at the beginning.
No, it's not. It doesn't even have the E. It's just Everton Stadium. But
oh, gosh.
And it looks terrible. Looks like it has no character. In the picture I've seen, it looks like a train station. It's nothing. It lacks the character that Goodison Park has.
New isn't always better.
It really more and more we're seeing it is more and more boring and bland. I'm not expecting too much, but I'm gonna take 1-1 on this one. I don't know who scores for Everton. Probably an own goal because it doesn't really seem like anyone's scoring for them that often at the moment.
Yeah,
Dwight McNeil. If I know that's who you're going to pick as their leading scorer. Yeah, he has 3 goals this season. Next is Calvert-Lewin and 2 others with 2. So, yeah. Not a very high-scoring team, but we'll see who scores. Realistically, it would not surprise me one bit if Liverpool come in and batter Everton, but it's the Merseyside derby, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we usually have pretty good matchups between these two, especially at Everton. And it's a little different at Liverpool, but at Everton. At Goodison, we usually have a good performance from Everton. I think, what was it, before the win last year, they had 9 draws in the last 12 games. So they've been getting points at home. But
oh, yeah, at home, definitely. I mean, yeah, but it's a clean sheet has happened in every single match of the last 5 meetings. Someone's been shut out.
It's a crazy stat line, honestly.
More often than not, it's been Liverpool. But last time out, or more than often than not, it's been Everton. But last time out, it was Liverpool who got shut out 2-0 at Goodison. So,
yeah.
You're saying there's a chance
Oh, there's a chance.
Funny thing about that one was it was pretty much the nail in the coffin at that point for Liverpool. Lot to play for. We'll talk about the first ever match between the two back in 1894. Everton won 3-0 at Goodison Park. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see something happen once again.
It'd be an awesome way to end it. Last one there. I'd love to see Everton score like 3 goals.
Oh, it'd be amazing. I mean, that year, the first year that they played each other, Everton finished second in the league, and Liverpool got relegated. Final year at Goodison Park, Everton get relegated, Liverpool were finished runner-up in the league. You've heard it here first.
That's realistic.
Also,
It's not even that crazy of a shout. That's a sad thing.
I want to say this first division table from 1894-95 season is amazing to look at.
Who we got?
We have a lot of teams who we know: Sunderland, Everton, Villa, Preston, Blackburn, those kind of guys. We have Small Heath,
Okay.
a team formerly known who became. Do you know what? Do you have a guess at what team Small Heath became? Have you ever
I
watched?
couldn't tell you.
I'm blanking. Birmingham.
Ah.
And we had a team called the Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday, right there. I knew that one.
Yeah. But it's like Stoke got relegated. Derby got relegated. You look at the second division. Notts County. Newton Heath. Do you know who Newton Heath became?
No.
The team we now all hate, Man United.
Newton Heath.
Newton Heath became
I
Manchester.
never knew that.
Yeah. And there are still teams that are around. Notts County was in the second division at that point. Rotherham. God, there are some. Oh, Woolwich Arsenal. I wonder who they became.
I have a feeling. I have an inkling.
Even England, but getting a little off on the Merseyside derby. Should be a great one. Should be entertaining. That's why we chose it as our match of the week. But any other thoughts on this one before we move on to a couple other games?
I'm looking forward to it. I've got positive expectations for sure. I'm thinking we're going to have a good one.
Yes, as do I. But moving on to the next match down, we have the team formerly known as Newton Heath hosting Nottingham Forest. Man United, Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford. What are you expecting from this one? Do you think Forest makes it 2 consecutive losses to a Manchester side?
I do. And I'm probably not giving Forest the credit they deserve, but I think Man U's going to get this one. I'm backing Amorim here to get things figured out. Again, I do think you've seen positive signs from Man U, even though, again, you didn't get the result against Arsenal, but you've seen kind of an improvement in overall play style and energy and effort. I think that'll carry over into a victory here. I think at the end of the day, they are a more talented team than Forest. Not as much as people might think, just looking at the teams on paper. Because, again, Chris Wood's having a phenomenal year. Gibbs White's very good. Alonga's good. They've got very good players, especially in attack. I still think United, though, it's just they got better players. They'll be at home. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they win 2-0. I think Forest is going to go through a little bit of a lull here. This is going to be the lull that we were talking about. I think this is going to be it. So I think Man U is going to win 2-0. But I would not be surprised at all if they make me eat my words and go and win this game. Because that's what they've been doing all season, right? They've been surprising teams. They've been winning games they shouldn't. So I would not be surprised if they did it. But I am going to say I think Man U wins, and I think they win 2-0. I think they look pretty good doing it. I really do.
I do like that shout. I'm probably going to pick Nottingham Forest to win this one just because I don't think they play that poorly again. But at the same time, Man U also played pretty dreadfully last time out, so it shouldn't be the same for them as well. They're both in a bad situation this week, and I really don't know who to trust more. Because the thing is, Man U's looked great against these bottom dwellers, but haven't looked good against anybody higher than them in the table. this is a team that's higher than them. I don't rate Forest completely, but this just seems like a game that is going to just be a letdown.
Mm.
With that being said, though, Man U has been very, very good at home recently. They haven't. I don't believe they've lost since the end of September at home. One draw, a whole load of wins since then, but I'm gonna be bold. I guess Everton drawing was bold, but I'll double down on my bold picks before we get into some of these other predictions and say Forest get some sort of points against Man U this weekend. And people suddenly the story is going to be, is Marion out of his head by the end of the week? And I don't in over his head. And I don't think he is. I think it's just a matter of what you said earlier, them just getting the timing and getting everything figured out. But I have a feeling that there's gonna be bad talk about Man U this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what you're saying because I was literally thinking that same thing. If they don't put in a good shift and get the 3 points, people are gonna start talking. And they're going to be like, oh, is he the right guy? Is Man U really turning the corner? Or is this just the same old Man U that we've seen? Like, I'm not like, obviously there's still a lot of time left. It does feel kind of like a big pivotal game, at least in terms of fan perception, media perception of this Man U team. And Ruben Amorim as a young manager, it does feel like it's got heightened stakes a little bit.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Like there is more and more pressure on his shoulders not to keep losing. So we will see. Should be a good one. I want to say it's 12:30 Eastern time kickoff on Saturday afternoon. So should be a fun one.
Yeah.
Moving on down the line, your team up next, Arsenal, traveling across London to take on Fulham. What are you expecting from both sides, and do you think Arsenal make it a 5th consecutive win? Because I sure do.
Fulham's been good. We talked about it. We haven't given them their due respect up until about this week. They're good. We're looking good, right? We got people back. We're looking dangerous on set pieces. I love it. This is going to be a tough game, I think. I really think this is going to be a tough game. I'm not confident at all. I'm really not. I'll give us the benefit of the doubt, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't think we are the better team. But at Fulham, a team who's been playing well, if we just show up just a little underperforming, just not completely locked in, they'll take full advantage, So that's why I'm nervous going into this, because if everything's just not fully focused, it's a little bit of a hangover from the Man U game for whatever reason, I don't know. Fulham will 100% take advantage. I'm going to back Arsenal. I like how we've been playing recently. I think we're really figuring things out. So I'm going to give us a 1-0 victory. It's got to be a set piece, right? So I'll give us a 1-0 set piece win.
Corner, free kick, or penalty?
Ooh, I'm going corner.
Corner.
I'm going corner. It's got to be a corner. Give me a Saliba header.
Oh, so not off his ass this time.
Yeah, not off his ass. No, Gabriel's been the one, man. Gabriel is a monster on attacking set pieces. But I think, we'll win 1-0 is my prediction. I think it'll be a close, tight game. Fulham's good. I expect them to put the pressure on until the very end. But I will back Arsenal. Not confident at all, though.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm backing Arsenal. I think they are the better team. Had a bigger win this weekend. Sure, Fulham have looked solid so far, but it's also I just don't trust them all that much. It's also a very brutal stretch where, have you seen their next 4 matches?
Who we got?
Home to Arsenal, at Liverpool, home to Southampton, at Chelsea.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I think Fulham may pray for the new year to come sooner rather than later, because it looks rough. And one of my other things is recently Arsenal has kind of struggled, at least last year, against Fulham as one of the teams that they didn't beat at all. I think this year they're coming out looking for revenge, looking to make a statement, and I think they will. I think they'll win 2-0 because that defense has been superb.
Yeah, remember last year when they came back and they won 2-1?
Yep.
Something about Craven Cottage, it freaks me out.
Yep.
It's too small of a stadium. It freaks me out looking at it.
Well, the thing is, the fans are right on top.
They're right there. Like, it has a serious effect. Like, and with Fulham playing as well as they're playing, like, I am nervous heading into this one.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting one, but we shall see. Moving on to the final match, we're going to do some in-depth analysis on Tottenham hosting Chelsea. One side, we have a Tottenham team that's been very, very lackadaisical as of late. We see them losing to Bournemouth, drawing with Fulham, drawing with Roma, all since they beat Man City. Chelsea, meanwhile, have won 4 in a row. Look damn good against every team that they played. 2 of the last 4 wins have been shutouts. You're winning at home. You're winning on the road. You're on the road again in this one at Tottenham. What are you expecting? I guess it's easier to say expecting, but do you think Tottenham has the dog in them to get this London win, or is it like – because they haven't really shown this fight all season yet.
No, they haven't. They've been very disappointing. Because last year, before the injury struck, they looked like a team that could go and challenge for the title. You remember that? They were very, very good. This year, you just don't see that. Like, you don't really have confidence in this Tottenham team. They just you watch them and you're like, eh. That's the only way to describe it. It's one of those, eh.
Yeah.
Like, they're not terrible, but like they're not good. It's just disappointing. Which is, I mean, from an Arsenal perspective, it's friggin' awesome. But from a Tottenham perspective, it's got to be incredibly frustrating. Chelsea this season has been flying. They've been scoring goals. They've been defending pretty well. So you got to back Chelsea in this. That's how I'm looking at it. They've been playing well. I think they'll win. I think they'll concede. I think Tottenham will get a goal. I think Chelsea gets 3. I'm going 3-1. Offensively, I love what I'm seeing from this Chelsea side right now, and I don't think Tottenham is going to be able to keep the ball out of the back of the net. I really don't. They haven't been bad defensively. Don't get me wrong. They've only conceded 15 goals. I think they got plus 13 goal difference right now. But I just don't think they'll be able to stop Chelsea. I think Chelsea will get some goals by them. They're hot right now. I'm going 3-1 Chelsea.
I like your shout. I like a Chelsea win. Chelsea's only lost once to Tottenham in at least the last 5 years.
Mm.
But a lot of draws in this one. It's really, really been a dominated series. Since 2019, it was Tottenham's only won 2 matches across all competitions against Chelsea. I think that'll continue again, their winless streak. I'm taking Chelsea. I'm taking them 2-1. I think it'll be pretty straightforward. And going back to what we were talking about when we were recapping their match with Southampton, it's coming from all over. You can't just focus on one player. You have to focus on the whole team. Tottenham, on the other hand, Son hasn't looked the player he's wanted to. Dominic Solanke hasn't looked great. Kuvalevsky, James Madison, I will say, is looking better and better each week.
He is.
But still, something's just off about him. I don't trust them defensively. I don't trust their goalkeeper that much. It's just like there's a reason you lose 1-0 to Bournemouth. Nothing against Bournemouth. Fair play to them, but like I expect more.
And you know what the interesting thing is? We don't trust them defensively, but they've actually only conceded 1 more goal than Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah, 15. But you look at it and you just don't have confidence in them to keep Chelsea out. It's kind of remarkable because they actually haven't been bad defensively.
That's fair.
You just don't feel the confidence, do you? Because I don't. I know I don't.
No, and I just don't understand why Son isn't starting. Unless he's still hurt or has a knock or something, but I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're still missing Mickey Van de Ven.
That's the biggest one right there.
That is the biggest one. Christian Romero's out.
Because the partnership needs to be Van de Ven and Romero. I think when those two are together.
Oh, 100%. I think if those two were playing and Son was looking even half of himself, I would probably take Tottenham at home in this one.
Mm-hmm. And I think they'd be much higher than they are right now.
Yeah. But no, I just don't trust Tottenham at all. Going to take Chelsea 2-1. We'll see what happens. We've been proven wrong many times, and it's a London derby, so anything is possible. Jackson, any other thoughts on any of the matches we just touched on, or before we hop into kind of our just predictions and wrap it up?
So we do the predictions.
Perfect by me. Starting off, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday, Aston Villa hosting Southampton. Does it continue where anytime Southampton's playing, you pick against them?
1,000%. Give me Villa. Give me 3-0.
Give me 3-1 Villa. I think Southampton will find a way to get a goal. They seem to more and more not confident otherwise. Brentford hosting Newcastle. Brentford's been the best team in the league at home. So
They are.
And Newcastle has been mid-table mediocrity on the road. With that being said, Alexander Isak is back. He is on an absolute tear at the moment. I am taking Newcastle. I'm taking it 1-0 because I think this will be a very entertaining and energetic game. But I am taking Newcastle to end what I believe is Brentford's unbeaten streak at home.
Yeah, I don't think they've lost at home.
They haven't yet.
Yeah.
One of three teams, them, Arsenal, and Brighton, have yet to lose at home, but they will drop their first match this season there. So.
I like that shout, and I 100% agree. I'm going to go 2-1. I think we'll see a couple goals from Newcastle and one from Brentford. But the biggest thing for me is Alexander Isak. He's turned a corner this season. He's looking like the player that we all know he can look like. And even if he doesn't score in this game, that just opens up so much more space for everyone else because now I got to worry about Isak. Can't leave him open on a cross. He'll score the header. Can't let him turn. He'll score the shot. So you might have to put a little bit more effort into him, and that gives someone like Anthony Gordon a little bit more time to go and score a goal. So I think they'll win 2-1. I think this team's finding their way finally, and it all starts with Alexander Isak, and I'll carry them through. Give me 2-1. I think they, like you said, they end the unbeaten streak at home.
Yep, I'm with you. Moving on down the line, Man City going to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace got a huge 3 points. We're talking about Man City here, and you're not playing Southampton or Ipswich Town. You got a brutal schedule coming up. You play Arsenal twice, one in the cup, one in the league. You have Brighton next week, Man City this week. It's a brutal stretch for Palace. Do you think they get anything done home to Man City?
Nah. I think City finally righted the ship.
Yep.
Again, I don't think they're going to win the league. I think the Rodri being out is going to ultimately be too big of a thing to overcome for them when it comes to playing bigger teams. But I don't see them dropping points against teams like Palace. I think you'll see them do what City does. I think they finally turned things the right way, and I do think they'll get all 3 points. I think they'll look pretty good doing it too. I think Holland will get back on the score sheet. Give me 2-0. Nah, what am I saying? They're going to concede. They always concede. Give me 3-1. But I think they win by 2 goals.
Oh, I like it. I am going to take the 2-0 because they've had back-to-back. Yeah, 2 consecutive clean sheets. So
I'm still not there. I don't have that faith.
I guess they've had 1 clean sheet, but had a clean sheet kept against them.
Yeah, Liverpool.
So someone's been shut out in 3 of their last 4. Guess what I'm going at.
Yeah,
I think they managed to just because I know their defense is weak. I know usually they're conceding, but I just do not think Crystal Palace's attack is anything worth stressing over.
You'd think that, and they'll find a way to score, though. That's
100%. I'm going to eat my words. Eze is going to score some worldly, or it'll be a random ball that finds to Daniel Munoz or something ridiculous. But I'm still taking Man City, and I think they win relatively comfortably. I am going to go with my 2-0 prediction. But moving on to Sunday, as we cover the Man U and Nottingham Forest game already. Ipswich Town hosting Bournemouth. I gotta lean Bournemouth because Ipswich has been so disappointing. I know they've had bright moments here and there, but Bournemouth coming off 2 straight wins, a big win against Tottenham. I'm just saying, they might have the best wins this season, or most surprising. You beat Arsenal, you beat Man City, you beat Tottenham. With that being said, all those were at home. They're probably going to lose all 3 on the road. beside the point. Now it's Ipswich. I like their chances. I think they get it done. I'm going to go 2-1 against, actually, no, probably 2-0. I don't like Ipswich scoring very much.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth wins 2-0. I like that shout. You basically said it, right? Bournemouth has looked very good this season compared to what we'd expect. They're a very solid team. They really are. I think Evan Nilsson is an unbelievable player. So I think, they'll go and win 2-0. You just don't see enough from Ipswich yet to really give them the benefit of the doubt when they play anyone of decent quality, So I got to go 2-0.
I would say my issue with Bournemouth is they play really well against the really good teams and really mid against everybody else. So maybe this is one that they fall asleep in, but no, I think we're both on the same page of them getting it done.
Yeah.
Leicester hosting Brighton. What do you expect from this? Does Brighton bounce back after kind of an embarrassing loss to Fulham last week?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll bounce back, and I'm very curious to see how things are gonna go now for Leicester City, like kind of this whole new era, with Ruud van Nistelrooy as the manager.
Yeah.
Very curious to see what's gonna happen with that.
So shout out him getting a job right after kind of taking over, getting sacked.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad hire.
No, I mean they had a good win at the weekend or midweek against West Ham. So,
so I don't see it happening this week though. I think Brighton's gonna get the win that they need to kind of rectify the negative performance at Fulham. I'm gonna take Brighton. I'm gonna go 2-1. I don't think they keep a clean sheet. I still like this Brighton team. I really do. I rate them, and I think they'll get the win here. I think these are the kinds of games that Brighton should be winning.
Yeah.
And I do have confidence in them winning them for the most part. Like obviously they've floundered a few of them, but I do think they'll win this one.
Yeah. I'm going to take Brighton as well. I think they get it done 2-1. I do think Leicester scores. Whether it's a goal or an assist, I think Jamie Vardy will have a part to play in it. He seems to have done so quite often this year. A couple assists, 5 goals for the former Premier League Golden Boot winner. But I think Brighton will be too much. They're too strong all around, and I just think they're the better team. We shall see. Final match of the weekend, Monday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern time. West Ham hosting Wolves. Which W team gets the actual W? Or do they get a draw, I guess?
It needs to be West Ham, right? Like it needs to be West Ham. They have had a very tough season. They only have 15 points. They're only 6 points ahead of Wolves right now.
Yeah.
This needs to be one that they win. Like, you're looking at it, must win. I do think they will. Wolves has been a complete disaster this year. West Ham at home, I got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've also been very mid because I was excited about this team this season. I thought they made good signings over the summer. I was looking forward to it. I thought this was a team that could be pushing for Europe again, which they very well could. It's still very early. Again, I don't know how far off they are right now from like 8 points from Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, not that bad. Back in Brighton for 5th place.
Yeah, it's doable. But this is one they got to win. I think they will. I really do think they will. Give me 3-2. I don't think they look convincing. That's my thing right now. I don't think they'll do it convincingly, but I do think they'll do it. So I think 3-2 is a good scoreline for that feeling I'm kind of having right now. Acuna has been scoring a lot of goals this season. They've found some other ways to score. Their main thing is that they just leak. They leak goals. What is it, 36? It's the most in the Premier League.
I mean, they've given up 8 in the last 2 games against Bournemouth and Everton. Not exactly ideal.
But they've scored 22.
Oh, yeah, they're scoring. They just can't.
As low as they are, they've scored more goals than Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But they just
they're losing games. They're scoring every game. They're losing games like 3-2, 5-3, 2 all draws. They had a 4-1 win over Fulham, which was remarkable to see. But.
Yeah, and that's been their problem all year. They just can't keep the ball out of the back of the net. I think you'll see that again.
Well, I agree with you. I think we're going to have quite a few goals for both teams. I think it'll also part part of me wants to go 4-2 or 4-1 again, but we'll see. I don't know if West Ham is capable of scoring that many goals. So I like the 3-2 shot. I am going to go 3-1 instead because I don't think West Ham allows as many. But it's going to be anytime Wolves plays, let me put it this way. Anytime Wolves plays, you're going to want to watch because it will be goals galore one way or another. It'll be entertaining, passionate, fun-filled football at its best.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
But Jackson, any other final thoughts on anything football related?
I think we're good. I think we're
We
good.
did. We made a decent long episode. Thank you guys for sticking it out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the It's Called Football shows or any of our other Vendetta Sports Media coverage across all the sports, all the times. We're in the almost in the bowl season. Hockey, basketball, NFL, college football. Everything is going on at the moment. It's a grand old time. But thank you guys for watching from Jerry and Jackson. We'll see you guys next week.